Hello, this is Jamie Magridge. Welcome to Jamie's Craft Table. Today I'm going to show you how I made this card. So let's get started. Okay, first I'm going to be using, for all the flowers, I'm going to be using the Pansy Petals Designer Series paper. And I'm using this design for the background. And I cut out flowers and leaves from it. Okay. I'm going to be using the dies, these 4 dies from the Pansy dies. I've already cut out the flowers and the leaves just to save time, but I will still need this one out. So here's the flowers and the leaves. Okay, and those are all cut out of the paper, no stamping needed. Okay, for paper, I have 2 1/8" strips of black. They're just scraps, little 1/8" strips. I have a half-inch strip of white to stamp my sentiment on. 1 1/4" strip of that Designer Series paper, and this is by 4 1/4 or 5 1/4, I think. Yeah, 5 1/4. 1 1/4 by 5 1/4. 4 by 5 1/4" piece of the Designer Series paper. This is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and out of the center I've die cut a rectangle out of it. And that is just so that when I layer it up to cut it out, there's not so much in the middle that needs to be cut out. And then my card base is 5 1/2 by, or 4 1/4. Start again. My card base is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored and folded at 4 1/4. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and glue this black piece onto the front of my card. I'm going to use wet glue. Maybe if I just used it a minute ago, so it shouldn't be stopped up, but it is. There we go. I do have a tendency to leave it sitting open on my desk. And then we're going to go ahead and there's just going to be that tiniest little border around the edge. I just want to get that straight on there. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and adhere this piece over the top, and this is 1/8 inch smaller than the black piece, so again there's just going to be that little 1/16 inch border. Go ahead and stick that on there. Okay. Sure it's square and straight. It's lit a little bit, but we'll go with it. Okay. Now we want to make sure that I have room here for this piece, and then this little strip on this side of it. Then I'm going to bring in, I'm not gluing that down yet, I just want to know where it's going to be. I'm coming in with this die here, and I'm going to place it right about there. I'm going to come in with a couple pieces of Post-it tape, or you can use Post-it notes, that works too. Okay, I'll move this. I'm going to run this through my die cutting machine just like that. I'm going to open it up like this. I still have the big shot, that's why I don't bring it in camera, but I'll make sure this doesn't have any give. It does, so I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to put it on there like this. I'm going to put my other plate on top, and I'm going to run that through my machine.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Let's take these Post-it notes off. Pop this piece out of here. Okay. Now, you're going to want to make sure, I don't know if you can see it, but try to make sure you have a clean plate, because see how I got marks all in my paper? I didn't think about that. I didn't get it so much on the first one, but I did definitely on this one. Okay, now I'm going to close the card like this, and I'm going to put glue here, or you can put copy paper over the top of it to protect it from the plate, but I don't think it's going to make much difference. And we're going to set that right back in place where it came out of. You see that? Okay, then I'm going to hold that in place, and I'm going to open my card. Okay. Now I'm going to take this pansy that I already cut out with the same die. It's from the paper. I'm going to make sure there's glue all the way around the edges. Just a light amount though, not, you don't want a lot. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to place that right in on top. Okay. That gives it a little bit of dimension. You could probably even go more if you wanted to. Okay, now let's go ahead and glue this piece on. Now if you'd rather, instead of these little strips, just do a strip that's that 1/4 inch or 1/8 of an inch wider. I'm going to place this one down here with that little bit of a border there. Oh, I cut this a little too short. It's alright, we're going to go with it. Then I'm going to glue one of these black strips on either side of that green piece. If it's a little too long, just trim it off. There we go. There's one side. A little bit of glue there. You can just use a little dabs if you'd rather. Okay, it must be I don't have enough under this one. Okay. Now I'm going to bring these pansies in, these little ones. I'm going to flip them all over, and I'm going to put a dimensional on the back of each one. And the 2 dark leaves. On the larger one, I'm going to put a dimensional on it. Okay, I'm going to take those backs off. And I'm going to put these on this green strip, whichever order you want to put them. Just want to try to keep them, you know, about the same amount apart. So I put one on top and one on the bottom. I'm going to trim this little black piece. And then this one will go between. Okay. Now I'm going to bring this other dark one in and put glue on the back of it. And this one's going to go here, right in this little, I don't know if you can see it, right here. You don't want it to hang over the flower, you want it to look like it's tucked under. And this one is going to go right here next to it. Okay, and then on the inside, we're going to take these two lighter ones. I'm going to do the same thing. Tuck one in, a little bit underneath. Tuck the other one. You can get it under there. If you can't, it's fine too. Oops. Okay. Okay, now to finish it off, I'm going to bring in my basic rhinestones. I've colored 3 of them with my Stampin' Up marker. I'll show you, but I wanted to make sure it dried. And you just color it like that. Just be careful, don't scrub it or you'll ruin that tip of your marker. Okay, then I'm gonna, oops, come in with my, take your pick tool, pick those up, and put one of those black rhinestones in the center of each one of these pansies. Okay, now I need to do my sentiment. Put this away. Put this away. Oh, I need that still. Okay, let's bring in something to stamp on. And I've got a little hello sentiment from the stamp set, from the Pansy Patch stamp set. I've cut off the from me to you part because I like the just a little hello. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp that on this little strip. Let's see if I can get a better. It's got a hair on it. Let's give it a bath. Try that again. Much better. Okay. I'm going to take my snips and I'm going to cut the ends so that they're about the same distance from end to end. And then I'm going to fishtail the ends. This end I probably don't need to because I'm going to tuck it underneath, but that's what I did, so I'll go ahead and show you. So I couldn't decide where to put it. Because I originally thought maybe to put it here, like that, but I like it tucked in here, so I'm going to turn it over. I'll put a little glue on both ends, because the middle is going to kind of be up in the air. Dimensional on the back of the center. I'm going to tuck the hello end underneath this one here. Make sure it's down below where the opening is so the dimensional doesn't show. And go ahead and set it down. There you go. There's our card. Here's the one I did previously. Okay, well thank you so much for joining me today at Jamie's Craft Table. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope you can find a little bit of time to play with some stamps, ink, and paper.